That's my whole point. All right. I want to bring Undead Chronic on. Nadia, I'm gonna take you off.
Before Undead comes on, can I
We've seen
questions? Because I think it's going to get kind of derailed when Chronic comes on. Like,
okay, what's the thing you want to bring
up? Well, Kyla, there's a couple things I wanted to chat with you about. The first one was, I agree with you that it's Jordan Peterson. So when you're
wait, I want to bring. Let's chat about this while Chronic comes on. I want to
okay. It's going to be hard to actually have a conversation with him here, but
yeah, I know that's why I wanted to like.
What's the problem? I'm sorry, Radical Coder, that I didn't get back to you in time.
It's all
That's
good.
why you're upset.
No. I mean, you might be fine. It's just the last time I was on a panel with you, you kind of held.
Oh no, we had like what?
He's saying you have a lot of social gravity, Undead. It's a compliment. He's just
saying, no, I was just drunk that panel. No,
okay, fair enough.
No, it was a shit show. There was no social gravity going on.
Although I'm gonna say you came in hot and were already proving Ryan's concerns. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, the thing I wanted to talk about was a panel you were on recently where we were talking about Jordan Peterson, and I agree with you that he's like way better than Andrew Tate in a lot of ways. I think the problems with them are very different. But there were claims you made that he was like on the left or like a progressive essentially, and I kind of wanted to push back on that. I mean, I have like a few specific points that I'd bring up that were like way before he was, characterized as like a Nazi and all these things, specifically the C-16 stuff. Of course, that's kind of an easy one. That like the stuff that like brought him to prominence, and his like misrepresentation of the C-16 bill. The second one would be like a conversation he had with like Stefan Molyneux, where he's talking about like race and IQ, and the way that he was discussing these topics was a little sussy, I guess, to put it mildly. And I would another kind of funny one. I like a lot of his takes on like archetypes in media and his like Disney movie takes specifically. But like when he talked about Frozen, he like writes off the entire movie. Oh, it's pure ideology, and he doesn't like really engage with it, and kind of was, yeah, he had a very boring take on Frozen. So I thought that was kind of weird. And one more thing, when you were talking about the quote of his about like makeup in the workplace and stuff, he does specifically say like, here's a rule. What about no makeup in the workplace? So if you want to, I know that's a lot, but if there's anything there that stands out that you want to like talk about.
Sure, we can talk about the rule first because I'm not as familiar with the Frozen stuff, and I don't know because I tend to disavow a lot of like pre-2020, like post-2020 Jordan Peterson. I tend not to like. I'm very hit or miss. There's a couple of nuggets, but most of it I'm not a big fan of. So I'm not sure when the Frozen stuff specifically.
Well, the nuggets are small and they're benzo pills, right?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Well, you addicted to benzos. That's what I'm trying to bring up.
Yeah, what I would say to the like, here's a rule. What about no makeup in the workplace? That he poses it in such a like open way. Like, here's a rule. Why not no makeup in the workplace? And then people are like, well, why not? Why would we bar that? And he's like, well, why wouldn't we bar it? Right? So even the way that it's characterized, I still don't think he's literally saying makeup should be banned from the workplace. I would say maybe now he would agree with that, but at the time he was saying it, I don't think he was ever saying makeup should be banned from the workplace. He was saying, why wouldn't we? What are our reasons for allowing makeup versus not allowing makeup? Why do we say like certain things about like dress codes for women where we're not allowed to have like bra, like a strap showing? Why do we have all these other rules about women and their dress, but not makeup? When the bra strap is theoretically, the risk is the sexualness, when a lot of makeup obviously also highlights sexuality as well. And I don't think he was ever saying, I think he later goes on to caveat and say, he's not actually saying that women shouldn't be allowed to wear makeup in the workplace. But he's saying, why aren't we analyzing these things? Why aren't we even asking the question?
Okay, I think it's a fair steel man of his position there. I don't know for sure that that's like what he was getting at, but if it was, then I think that's fair. But would you still like characterize him in that time period as like a progressive per se? Like I'd say he seems like fairly right leaning in a lot of his ideology.
Nowadays,
I mean back then specifically because I understand there's two Petersons for sure, like post brain injury and before.
Before I wouldn't necessarily classify him as like right leaning. He was more of like, I don't know, in his own little world. But yeah, nowadays yes, but back then I don't know.
So in the case of like the rule, the the rule he suggests is a feminist prescription talking point. It's an older one. People don't talk about it much, but it comes from feminist literature. There was actually feminists who talked about making a rule that makeup wasn't allowed because they viewed makeup as an oppressive tool of the patriarchy. So they had different goals in it, but the goal was fundamentally to reduce workplace harassment, because he agrees sexual harassment of women in the workplace is bad. It's a horrible thing. By liberal, I wouldn't say. So he was liberal in that he tended to almost always vote liberal. I think he said his voting record was dominantly liberal. And in Canada's already a very liberal country. So if he's voting liberal, he tends to lean liberal. He ended up in a very liberal arts school. He was a social psychologist. He's old as fuck now. And so when he calls himself a liberal, this is the issue with like older people that call themselves liberal that we struggle with, which is the Overton window. Where like the Overton window moves so far that it's like, he's definitely not liberal now. And I would say he was like bordering on conservative even when he was young. But when he was like a young man, for example, when he talks about what he's like as a young man, he was aggressively progressive, right? He was talking about like allowing gay marriage long before it was legalized in Canada. And so like the idea that he was just like never liberal progressive, I don't think is really true. He's probably gone through some of the transition just in old age that most people tend to do, which is becoming slightly more conservative. And then post 2020, he's kind of taken a really radical shift. But that would be my reason why, is that he had a lot of common liberal progressive talking points.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I kind of wanted to just pick your brain on it. I thought it was an interesting take, and
all right, let's redirect this.